Hello one, hello all, it is the gothiest ghost of them all, Caspa in the flesh. And the latest ghost of them all, I have no excuse. Okay, yeah, I do have an excuse. I worked today, and now I'm doing work now. So I'm doing a double. But aside from that, aside from me being sick, aside from me working through the sickness, I am not down with the sickness. I never will be. But on to the review. Chat pile, God's country, and man, this is a heavy one. Not only a heavy one in terms of the sonic element of this and the sonic depth of this, but the emotional depth, the vocal performances, the lyrics, the subject matter. It's all just heavy. It's a heavy fucking album. And it will take a toll on you with a lot of listens, which is why I love it. I love music that is tangible to me. I love music that I can feel whatever the emotion is. And my God, this album kicks ass. But not in a way of, how should I put this? Positivity. It's a very negative album. There's some very negative shit in this album, but it hits very hard. And that is definitely what I look for. I look for an album that hits in all sections. And there is simplicity to this album for sure, but that's where the beauty comes in. The appeal comes in with how simple it is, how raw it is, how brutal it is, how heavy it is, how it feels so fucking real. And I cannot stress that enough. And we also have to say that the frontman gives probably the most harrowing vocal performances, most powerful vocal performances on here. Like, you really feel what he's saying. This thing takes you on a harrowing journey. And I'll warn you, if you are a person who suffers from mental issues, suicidal thoughts, I would skip this one. I would not go here. Maybe give it a try. You know, there might be some tracks that you could enjoy. But other than that, you might want to stay away. But that's just me. That's just my opinion, my thoughts. Because this is about my opinions and my thoughts on an album. So I can bring you guys to music that you may enjoy. You may not. But I'm putting you on to new music. But like I said, if this isn't your cup of tea, pour it down the drain. But don't pour my copy down the drain there, because I'll be very mad at you. But yeah, the album just kicks off with these dissonant guitar chords just droning over the track. The frontman is screeching like a madman, like with harrowing lyrics like the removal of skin, living in different skin. And it's just a devastating track. Like, goddamn. Going, hammers and grace. And delivering these vocals that go from, like, extremely unhinged to just traumatized to back to unhinged. There's definitely a lot of unhinged shit on this album, for sure. And then we get to the very tragic and real American nightmare that we have gone through for years that shouldn't even be a thing. The homelessness in America. And like he says on here, couldn't have said it better. Like, we have the means, we have the resources. Why are people homeless? And I do want to add in my commentary on this, that people say that it's their fault, they got addicted to drugs and they lost their job and that's why they're homeless. But that's bullshit. What happens is it's mostly the case that people are overworked, underpaid, they get sick, they don't pay for sick time. The companies don't pay them for sick time. So what happens? They end up missing some days. They miss some days. They miss out on some bills. They're kicked out of their house. They're kicked out of their car. Miss some payments on their car. Then they're homeless, living on the streets. And that's the fucking truth. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But on to the details in this track. Like, it just sounds so fucking heavy. And the cycle just continues, and he is just saying to you these things that people go through, like when they are homeless, like how they get sick, how they're suffering from the sweltering heat from living outside, and they don't have to live outside. Like, we have the resources. Like he said, there are solutions to this, but people don't want to take it. And the question is why? And I gotta say too, there are various vocal styles on this album, various sonic styles too, from like noise, sludge, death metal, post-punk. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot going on here. And wicked puppet dance, man. Like, the bass lines on this are sick. The ballistic drums going on is crazy. The echoing, deranged, nightmarish, in-life vocals on this thing give like a really harrowing experience. Very devastating picture here with the lyrics, especially with the refrains like God's eyes, taste lips, red. And I'm not gonna tell you the whole thing because I want you to listen to it. I want you to experience for yourself. But that's just a preview. Probably not a very good preview, but a preview. And Tropical Beaches has this nightmarish guitar arpeggios on this thing with these jump the fuck up riffs. And that kind of remind me of Korn from back in the day. So maybe there's some nu metal elements here too, but they say they're more of a funk band, but that's beside the point. And man, the pounding drums, like, dude just did a maniacal job on here. And the subject matter takes a maniacal jab at capitalism. Well deserved too, from the traumatic effects of it. And I feel he nails it here. He's nailing so many subjects on here that need to be addressed, which is great, which is awesome. And then, geniusly, this leads into the scenario of a bank robbery going on, which could be due to poverty, could be due to mental health, could be a mix of things. But it's brought here, and the refrains, man, are just fucking crazy. Line up the animals! Line up the animals! So he's just going off on a tangent in a hostage situation and saying more casualties will happen if his demands aren't met. Met? We're going to say met. And man, there are some cool down moments too. Maybe some I don't really care for because they lull a little bit, or some could have been mixed better, like on Pamela. And also the vocals, like, it's a very powerful message going on with that. Due to the loss of a son. I'm not sure if it's his in real life. If it is, I'm sorry. But I do feel the lyrics could have been delivered a little more stronger. But aside from that, I mean, it is a decent track, not a terrible track, but definitely one that could have been delivered a little more powerful, because he is going off throughout this whole album. So I do feel like this should have met the intensity of the other tracks on here. But that's just me. It's just me. And man, it just gets deeply and deeply disturbing as the album comes to an end, especially with the just, I want to say acoustic, but not really acoustic. This is more a cappella, where I can't really tell what's going on in the background. Like, is he like scraping something like against the floor? Is he scraping a knife against the floor? Is something burning? But he's just plotting his revenge. Very vindictive lyrics, very unsettling, detuned vocals on here, provided by a harrowing scream, like blood curdling scream that just comes out of nowhere. And like he's just, you could feel the intensity, like he's breathing through his nostrils within takes, and you could just feel the intensity in such a, how should I put this, non projected lyrics. I would say non projected vocals, but you still feel the intensity. And that's what makes a great vocal performer. Intensity, emotion felt even when you're not projecting. And the last track, man, last track is insane. Last track is about, and I know you're probably going to think it's silly because it's about Grimace, and they're like, Grimace, the lovable, goofy Ronald McDonald sidekick, yeah, that Grimace. But you have to understand that this is coming from someone who is deeply disturbed, schizophrenic, suicidal. So, yeah, he definitely sees Grimace, he's hallucinating that. But this is coming from someone who is suicidal and having an episode of schizophrenia. And they just want to end it all because of the torture and the emotional pain that they're going through. And you really feel it on here. You really feel it. It's a very, very haunting and terrifying experience. That's why I said, if you do experience suicidal thoughts, if you do experience PTSD, this may not be the album for you. But if you could handle this, if you're strong enough for this, let's enjoy this harrowing ride together. But yeah, aside from some tracks that lulled a little bit or could have been delivered stronger, I am feeling the blackest of 4 black out of 5 hearts on this thing. Loved it. Loved it. Great job, chat pile. I myself definitely enjoy the influences they were pulling from. I feel they put it together well. Whether it be Shellac, whether it be Jesus Lizard, whether it be Godflesh, they did it well. Congrats. But those are my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts on it if you've heard it? Did you love this thing? Did you hate it? Understandable. I just want to know, some reasons why. But yeah. Chat pile, God's Country, the Gothic Ghost, Caspa. Till we meet again.